Now again we have to find the median by using the graph. There is the second method by we can draw by this we can draw a less than ogive and more than ogive. And earlier we see how to find a median by drawing a less than ogive. Now we see how to find the median by drawing less than and more than ogive on the same graph. Now here is the question. Draw less than ogive and more than ogive for the following distribution and hence find the median. Again here the marks is given, that is 20 to 30, 30 to 40, and the corresponding number of students are for 20 to 30 the number of students are 8, for 30 to 40 the number of students are 12, and so on. So to find the median, first of all we draw a less than frequency tables. In the earlier example we see that how we can draw a less than frequency table. Now again we have to draw the tables. In the first column we have to write down the marks, and the next column we have to write the number of student. For less than table we write less than and the upper limit of the each class, that is the first class the upper limit is 30, you have to write down less than 30, you have to less than 40, less than 50, less than 60, less than 70, less than 80, and less than 90. So for the less than table we have to write down the upper limit of the each class. Now the number of students whose marks is less than 30, that is we have to include only the first class interval, that is 20 to 30 there are only 8 students, so we have to write down 8 here. Now the number of students whose marks is less than 40, that is we have to include these two class intervals, that is the number of students from 20 to 30 there is 8 students, and from 30 to 40 there are 12 students. So we can say that the number of students whose marks is less than 40 are 8 plus 12, that is 20. Now the number of students whose marks is less than 50 is 8 plus 12, 20, 20 plus 24, that is 44. And the number of students whose marks is less than 60, so we have to add all these four class intervals, that is 8 plus 12, 20, 20 plus 24, 44, 44 plus 6, that is 50. Like that we have fill the way to find the next frequencies. Less than 70 that is 60, less than 80 there are 75 students, and less than 90 there are all 100 students. So this is our less than cumulative frequency table. Now again we have to form a table that is called the more than cumulative frequency table. Again we have to make the two columns. In the first column you have to write down the marks, and the next column you have to write down the number of student. While drawing the more than frequency table, you have to write down in the marks column, you write down more than here we write the lower limit of the each class. For the first class the lower limit is 20, so we have to write down number of students whose marks more than 20. Same way, more than the lower limit of the next class, that is 30 to 40, the lower limit is 30, you have to write down 30. In the same way we can write 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80. So in the more than we have to write down the lower limits of the each class. So while finding the number of students in the more than cumulative frequency tables, we start from bottom side. So the number of students whose marks is more than 80, That is more than 80 means the number of students whose marks is lying between 80 to 90. So the number of students whose marks is more than 80 is lying between 80 to 90. So the number of students is 25. Here we write 25. Now the number of students whose marks is more than 70. More than 70 means the number of students lying between from class interval from 70 to 80 and 80 to 90. So the number of students whose marks is more than 70 is lying in this two class intervals. So we have to add these frequencies, that is 15 and 25. So we get 40 here. Now the number of students whose marks is more than 60. More than 60 means we have to add these three class intervals, that is 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90. So sum of all these frequencies are 10 and 15, 25, 25 and 25, that is 50. Like that we have to fill all the frequencies. 56, this is 80, and this is 92, and this is 100. Now this is our less than cumulative frequency table, and this is our more than cumulative frequency table. Now again we draw a graph for this tables. We draw the two mutually perpendicular lines. The horizontal line is called the x-axis and the vertical line is called the y-axis. On the horizontal lines we draw the marks, and on the y-axis we draw the number of students, and the value of one big box is equals to the 10 marks, and the one big box on the y-axis representing the 10 number of students. This is our scale. Now for the less than cumulative frequency tables, we have to draw the marks on the x-axis, we have to draw the marks on the x-axis, number of students on the y-axis. Now the first point is, let's say 30, we have to plot 30, 8. So 30, 8. This point is representing 30, 8. 30, 8. Now the next point is 40, 20. So this is 40 and this is 20. So this point is representing 40, 20. Like that we have to draw the less than ogive curve. This curve is representing the less than ogive curve. While plotting these points, we join this point by a freehand sketch curve, not by a scale. So we have to join all these points by a freehand. So this curve representing a less than ogive, less than ogive. Now in the same way, again we have to draw the marks on the x-axis and the number of student on the y-axis. So we have to plot a point that is 20, 100. That is the 20 on the x-axis and the 100 on the y-axis. So this point is representing 20, 100. Now the next point is 30, 92. We have to plot the 30 on the x-axis and the 92 on the y-axis. So this point is representing 30, 92. Now the last point is, that is 80, 25. That is 80 on the x-axis and 25 on the y-axis. On the 80 is on the x-axis and on the y-axis that is 25. So this point is representing 80, 25. So we have to join all these points by again freehand. So this curve is known as more than ogive, more than ogive, where the less than ogive and more than ogive intersect, that they intersect at the point P. Now from this point P we draw a line parallel to the y-axis. This line is parallel to the y-axis. This line intersects the x-axis at the point 60. So 60 is our median. So 60 is our median. 60 marks. सो हमने क्या किया, सबसे पहले हमने मोर देन लेस देन फ्रीक्वेंसी टेबल बनाई और उसके बाद हमने मोर देन फ्रीक्वेंसी टेबल बनाई. Then we plot the graph for these two tables. This is our less than OG and this is our more than OG. जहाँ पे ये दोनों OG इंटरसेक्ट हुए उस पॉइंट को हमने नाम दिया P. ना इस पॉइंट P से हमने ड्रॉ किया लाइन which is parallel to the y axis. जब ये लाइन x axis को जिस पॉइंट पे इंटरसेक्ट करेगी वही पॉइंट अपना मीडियन कहलाएगा. So from this graph we can say that the median is 60.